Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. I hope everybody's feeling at least a little bit better after last night's bludgeoning. We'll try to keep the positive vibes here. Got a couple of rumors to get to, and then immaculate vibes, and then we will get a look at Game 6 tonight. So stay tuned for the end of the video for that. All right, let's talk Jalen Brunson. A lot of free agency rumors have been circulating around him. Latest report coming out that he's expected to stay, as rumors have certainly been circulating around what he could do this offseason. He, of course, will be unrestricted, so he is free to leave if he wants to after this breakout season. Mavs certainly want to keep him, and I think they will do everything they can to keep him. There's not going to be a hometown discount, that I can promise you. But hopefully he understands how big of a role he has here. Hopefully, he likes the idea of continuing to grow with Luka Doncic as potentially his sidekick. Who knows? We'll see if that'll be the Mavs' long-term view of Brunson moving forward. Here's Mark Berman on Jalen Brunson. Quote, one league source who has spoken to Mark Cuban during the playoffs told the Post that he'd be shocked if Cuban didn't keep Brunson, who averaged 28 points in the first-round series against Utah. That doesn't bode well for Leon Rose's Knicks as they search for a premier floor general. Rose's son Sam and Aaron Mintz are Jalen's agents. So again, the recent reports would suggest that Dallas is going to do what they can to keep him, and they should, right? He's been a big weapon here in the postseason. 23.3 points per game. You'd like a little more facilitation there, but the Mavs have kind of had to play more iso ball at times against Phoenix, shooting the ball well from the field. Three-point shot hasn't been as good in the playoffs, but some efficiency numbers are just going to go down in the postseason because guess what? The intensity ramps up defensively and you're facing good opponents. Now, this is obviously a good sign. I'd say every report that continues to surface saying, hey, yeah, he's expected to sign with Dallas, etc., those are good things. But at the end of the day, Brunson can do what he wants. He is free to sign elsewhere. I expect him to return. Mark Cuban wants and needs him to return because if you trade Porzingis and then lose Brunson as well, then, you've lost your second and third best player, arguably. Now, we all agree and understand why they did the Porzingis trade, and I would say for the most part that's worked out fine, although Spencer Dinwiddie has not played well in the playoffs. Hopefully he plays better in Game 6. But back to Brunson, you want to keep this guy. He continues to get better each and every year. He's been this team's second best player all year. He has established himself as that. Now, in an ideal world, he'd be more of a number 3 on a contending team, but for now, he is your number 2. And just from a practical standpoint, from a cap space, trying to make maneuvers in the offseason standpoint, you have his bird rights, so you can go into the luxury tax to keep him. If you let him walk, that money doesn't free up for you. You already are at the cap. So you might as well keep the guy you can keep because it's not like you can say, well, Jalen, we're going to let you walk because $25 million is too much, then 20, we'll go sign someone else for $20 million. It doesn't work that way. They basically don't have money, but since they have his bird rights, they can keep him. That money doesn't free up and can go to another player if he walks, if that makes sense. So we'll see what happens with Jalen Brunson. I think there's 75-80% chance that he returns. What do you guys think? What do you think the percentage chance is that Brunson remains with the Mavs? I'd put it in that 75-80 range, like I said. Nothing's a given, especially when you're dealing with an unrestricted free agent. He can do what he wants. He's free to go elsewhere, and that's the Mavs' fault for letting that happen. But let us know, percent chance that you think Jalen Brunson will return. Coming up, Collin Sexton to the Dallas Mavericks. Maybe he's a guy you get if you don't bring back Brunson or to pair with Brunson and Luka. We'll explore that rumor here in just a moment. But first, if you want to go bet on Game 6 or either of the playoff games tonight in the NBA, you can do so with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Go to chatsports.com/MFFL. Promo code MFFL going to get you a 125% deposit bonus. It's the best deal on the internet when it comes to betting on sports. I've been betting on games throughout the playoffs. Lost money on the Mavs last night, but feeling good about Game 6 as a home underdog. Currently 2-point dogs against Phoenix. They've played so much better at home in this series than they have on the road. I think they have a good chance to force a Game 7 here. Over-under in this one, 213.5. Also like the over. Most of these games have gone over. Chatsports.com/MFFL. Promo code MFFL. Put your money where your mouth is. Go bet on the Mavs or against the Mavs if you're not feeling confident. If the Mavs can't keep Brunson. Maybe they can move other contracts around and go pursue a Collin Sexton. But again, letting Brunson walk doesn't give you $20, $25 million to work with. You would have to dump a Davis Bertans or a Tim Hardaway Jr. or something like that. Here's Bleacher Report on this possibility. Dallas doesn't have the cap space to sign Sexton outright, but could be interested in a sign and trade for another ball handler this summer if Jalen Brunson leaves as an unrestricted free agent. While he's not a true point guard, Sexton could thrive in a scoring role next to Luka Doncic after averaging 24.3 points and 4.4 assists in the 2020-21 season. His last full season before tearing his meniscus in November. The Mavs have a package of players who could interest Cleveland, including Tim Hardaway, Maxi Kleber, Reggie Bullock, and or Josh Green. Dallas could include draft capital as well to try and entice the Cavs to agree to a sign and trade deal. While Dallas should be interested in Sexton, especially if it loses Brunson, it would be surprising to see the Cavaliers willing to give up on him already. It would likely take a financial dispute on a new deal for the Cavs to actually agree to trade Sexton, something the Mavericks should be paying close attention to. I like Collin Sexton. 20-point scorer in his career, 24.3 in his last full season. Can dish a little bit. Pretty efficient shooter, 46% from the floor in his career, 38% from three. He's kind of just below an all-star level. That's kind of where he is. Quite frankly, I think at this point I'd put him and Jalen Brunson in the same tier, although Sexton's volume scoring has certainly been better, but Brunson's certainly getting close to that level. So here could be a potential post-draft trade idea, and basically it would mean the Cavs are making the Mavs pick in the first round, and you send that pick and Tim Hardaway to Cleveland in return for Collin Sexton. Obviously, this only happens if Brunson walks. I don't think you can keep Brunson and then move enough around to get Collin Sexton as well, but that could be a scenario if Jalen Brunson is not back next season. I'll be curious to see how the Mavs feel about Tim Hardaway this offseason after missing a lot of this year, and obviously when he did play, didn't play as well as he did a year ago. Now pick a guard. Who would you rather have on the Mavericks? Type JB for Jalen Brunson, type CS for Collin Sexton. I think Brunson because he's a better defender and you're familiar with him and he's not coming off a knee injury. I do like Collin Sexton, though. I'll say this. If Brunson wants to leave, Sexton would not be a bad fallback option. Subscribe here to Dallas Mavericks Today. We've had you guys covered throughout the NBA playoffs. Now, we're 0-2 in watch parties, but we're going to run it back. We're going to try and get in the win column tomorrow night. Game 6 will be live 8:30 Central Time. So subscribe, mark your calendars. We'll have you guys covered. Hopefully the Mavs can force a Game 7. And if not, then our offseason coverage begins, and we'll have you covered with a lot of videos during that as well. YouTube.com/MavsTV. Don't miss out on any of our Mavericks coverage. Speaking of Game 6, let's do a quick little preview, and then we will sign off here on Dallas Mavericks Today. Game 6 set for tomorrow night at the American Airlines Center, where the Mavs are 2-0 in this series, just like Phoenix is 3-0 in Phoenix, trying to keep that home court streak alive. 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central Time is tip-off as the Suns looking to close things out while the Mavs trying to force a Game 7. I think it's pretty simple to me, and we'll get to some keys to victory in a moment. You got to bring the energy, which I actually thought the Mavs did in the first quarter of Game 5, but you got to sustain it throughout. That's obviously a lot easier to do at home than it is on the road, so you'll have the crowd behind you. That should help, but got to bring the energy, got to be sharp mentally early. Don't turn the ball over. 12 turnovers in the third quarter last night. That was just brutal. Energy, but not too jacked up where you're making dumb mistakes on the floor. Got to be smart with the basketball and get some good shots early. My 3 keys to victory on top of that. Role players step up again. Listen, this series, the Mavs role players at home have been great. On the road, spotty. Brunson was good in Game 5, but he wasn't good in Games 1 and 2. Dorian Finney-Smith and Reggie Bullock didn't give you much offensively. Bullock didn't give you anything offensively in Game 5. They've been much better at home. Need that to continue, and if you win, hopefully it continues in Game 7 on the road. Number 2, attack the paint. Luka Doncic talked about this after losing Game 5. He said, I got to keep getting downhill, getting to the paint. That gives us the best chance to succeed. Don't settle. If you attack the paint, that doesn't mean you're not going to shoot threes. You get into the paint, and they collapse on you. You kick out for wide-open shots. That's what you want to do, put their defense on their heels. And then once you're doing that, get into the rack, you get in good looks, then you take threes, and hopefully you make them. The Mavs didn't take enough quality, good looks in Game 5, and they didn't make hardly any at all. 25% from three-point range. So get to the basket, open things up. Once they collapse on the floater game and the layups, then kick it out, find shooters, and hopefully you shoot about 40% from downtown, because that's probably what it's going to take to force a Game 7. All right, there you go. 3 keys to victory. A couple of thoughts heading into tomorrow's do-or-die Game 6 for the Mavs. Who you got? Type DAL for the Mavericks. Type PHX for the Phoenix Suns. Hopefully Dallas can force a Game 7. It's obviously going to be a very tough task. All right, that's going to do it for us here at Dallas Mavericks today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's show. Again, we will have a watch party tomorrow night. Tip at 8:30. I don't know exactly what time we'll go live. 8:25, maybe right at 8:30, because usually 8:30 means 8:40. But we'll be live, breaking it down, live scoreboard, play-by-play, all that good stuff. I can't wait to join all of you. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. YouTube.com/MavsTV. That is the link to go to subscribe to the channel.